I'm Rebecca Laudrup, lead of CIFF Media, and today I'm joined by Nikolaj Hansson, founder of Palms, which is the Copenhagen-based street brand that has redefined the tennis culture through a contemporary fashion lens. With Palms returning to CIFF this August, we wanted to catch up and talk about what's new, what's next, and what visitors can expect when they meet you guys in Copenhagen. So welcome, Nikolaj.
Thank you.
First, I would love to hear what has been some of the key milestones or developments for the brand recently.
Sure. I think we turned 5 years, 7 days ago, which I think on its own is a milestone. Started on the heels of COVID and ran through all the global turmoil that forever seems to keep going, but we just have to persevere. So yeah, I think just the fact that we're here today after 5 years feels sometimes like a milestone. It feels like yesterday that I started it, and it feels like a million years ago.
Yeah.
And on the same day as the 5th anniversary, we opened our new flagship store in the heart of Copenhagen, on Copenhagen-based, in a super nice little courtyard tucked away, where we're going to be doing a lot of activations and events and stuff. Then 2 months ago, we launched our latest partnership with the ATP Tour, which is the governing body of men's tennis.
Yeah.
I think they've only ever allowed one other brand, which is one of the most iconic brands in tennis legacy, to work with them. So being allowed to work with the greatest institution in tennis is a really big stamp of approval. So we launched our latest capsule with them in Rome for the Italian Open tennis tournament on site, which was super cool. And now we're doing some more stuff with them around the US Open, and lots of stuff coming.
Amazing. How did you guys get into that, like with the ATP?
Well, I think I was introduced through a friend, but they also kind of reached out and pitched the idea of doing something together, which is really cool because what I really want to do with, I grew up skateboarding, and I kind of want to bring that feeling of counterculture and anti-institutional feeling into tennis, because for me, tennis, I love all the classics and all the Wimbledon whites and all the legacy stuff in tennis, but we also want to show that there's not an ultimate truth to what tennis can be. And I think a lot of people don't feel like they fit into tennis if you don't fit into that preconceived conservative narrative around the sport. And we want to show that, yes, that's a big part of it, but there's also so much more. And I think that's what they saw as well, was something that was so polar opposite to how they're perceived. And ultimately, we all work from a passion of all things tennis and making tennis for everyone. And I think that's where we kind of have a nice common ground with the ATP Tour.
So do you even play tennis yourself?
I do.
Okay.
Very obsessively play tennis. I only started 6-7 years ago.
Oh.
And then I grew up skateboarding, stopped in my mid-20s, missed doing something active while seeing my friends. So I just did a group chat and I was like, hey, we're all playing tennis now. Here's the link to sign up. Here's where you can buy a racket. And then I've been playing, in outdoor season, which is now it's like 4 or 5 times a week.
Okay.
And now I have our entire Palms team is someone used to play or were playing before they joined, but most of the team weren't. But now we're playing tennis. They actually just played tennis this morning, but I couldn't join.
Oh, really?
But we're trying to do
when everyone today is like playing paddle.
Yeah.
You play tennis, yeah.
We play tennis. So we try to bring the whole team out to play tennis as well, at least once a week in the mornings.
Great. So the brand is evolving, I hear, both creatively and also strategically, I guess. Yeah. What can we then look ahead? Like what is the plan for that?
I think what's interesting about Palms is that, and tennis culture in general, is that for me, tennis culture can be like, if you like, there's a really good movie on Björn Borg with and John McEnroe, and in that there's a scene where Borg as a kid is playing against his garage door in a pair of denim jeans and a PK polo. So like, you can play tennis against the wall in a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, just like you played football in the schoolyard as a kid.
Yeah.
But you can also be sitting front row Wimbledon in a 2,000 euro suit. So like, anything in between that we can do authentically, culturally. And I think that is the strength of Palms, is that we both have the younger emerging consumer who's into streetwear and sneakers and street culture, because that's where I come from skateboarding, and kind of combining that with tennis. But we also have the more elevated menswear, contemporary menswear, but with a slight edge to it, and this feeling of like vintage sportswear from the 70s and vintage workwear.
Yeah.
But we also do tailoring. We do hair street coats. We do linen blazers. And then we also do tennis shorts you can actually play tennis in. I wouldn't play a 5-hour Wimbledon match in them.
No.
But they're great for playing recreationally. But it's also just a nice pair of nylon shorts that you can wear with a shirt and a pair of loafers. And I think strategically that's what's really interesting about Palms, is that we can be relevant for so many different consumer groups while still having a really strong DNA, because tennis is so high and low.
Yeah.
And now we really just want to expand on that. We are doing that through our partnership with ATP. We're doing it through our distribution, where we also now we want to go a little bit wider, because Palms came from the idea of making tennis for everyone, and I think the best possible way for doing that is allowing more people to buy into the product, and that also means that we're gonna make the offering a little bit more affordable. So we're gonna be lowering our prices a little bit more to be that value-driving, elevated streetwear brand rather than a contemporary menswear brand.
Has that been like something the customer has asked for, or like the
Not
pricing?
necessarily, because sometimes we do something and I'm like, it's way too expensive, and then it sells really well. But I think it's just from a value-based standpoint, what should Palms be? And Palms is about making tennis culture accessible.
Yeah.
And if we see ourselves as the ones who help shape tennis culture, then I think we should be accessible as well.
Okay. Before the cameras came on, I asked you what you guys call yourself, and you said it's a streetwear brand.
Yeah.
Because the balance is a little hard. Can you just talk a little bit about that? How do you balance like that you can play tennis in it, but you can also sit in a corporate meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we both kind of use the term streetwear, but also sportswear. But I think sportswear today, people think it's performance wear.
Yeah.
So we kind of use streetwear because it's a little bit more clear. Whereas sportswear for me is like in the 70s, you wear a hooded sweater, go for a run. That was sportswear. But now I think a lot of people has the idea that sportswear is technical performance wear. And for me, like streetwear, I like when I grew up skateboarding that I could buy a graphic T-shirt from a brand that I liked, and then when I was 28, I could buy a lower piano coat from them. And I think there's a beauty to this idea of maturing with the brand, and that we can get people in early with like a 60 euro T-shirt or a 50 euro cap. And then 10 years down the line, they can buy a 1,000 euro coat. But it's still with that same feelings of tennis and however we want to approach the sport at its heart.
So do you want your customer to grow up? Like,
yeah. Ideally, like them maturing, I think there's a beauty in that. Like we have people buying our suits to get married in them, but they also play tennis in our shorts. And I think there is some poetic beauty in that.
That's amazing. So let's just talk a little bit about you guys coming to CIFF. What does that mean for you guys to be a part of this kind of community?
Yeah, I think it's the energy that's the main attractor for us. I think I remember being out here and there's a lot of stuff happening, which I think is great because we want more energy, especially for Copenhagen Fashion Week, which is, especially on the men's side, it's on the tail end of the buying window and some budget's already spent, and like you need that jolt of energy, and especially after the summer break. So I think we're just super excited about being where all the people are and where all the energy is. And
what can visitors look forward to experience when they come out here and visit you guys?
Yeah, I think we're really doubling down on and exploring even more is this like communicating feelings of vintage sportswear, but in a current context. So for the next collections, we've worked a lot with like bleaches and fades and dyes and chain stitch embroidery, and because I think I myself personally, I buy a lot of vintage because we all want to be unique for better and for worse.
Yeah.
And I think doing stuff that has a more craftsmanship and also a more unique feel to it is something that we are at least trying to explore more, whether it's pigment dye or it's fade outs or super nice craftsmanship embroidery jackets and stuff like that. So, but all with like subtle feelings of tennis at its heart in a very playful way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned before, again, the cameras turned on, that you guys do like you have like a community kind of thing.
Yeah, so what we really want to do is to, especially in a country as Denmark where tennis isn't that big, we want to open up tennis culture and expand it. And we both do that through storytelling on social media. So we have articles about like how do you hold a racket and what are the 5 things you should know when you start playing tennis.
Yeah.
We also made a story about rules not to follow. And the first one is like, just forget about the rules. Like just hit the ball as much as you can and it'll come eventually.
Okay.
But also physically, I was just in Vienna 2 weeks ago where we did an event where we brought the city of Vienna out to play tennis with us and a retail we have there called Supplies. And then here in Copenhagen, we have a partnership with KB Tennis, which is the oldest tennis club in continental Europe since 1888, where we one Friday a month, we host a Friday bar where everyone can come. You can play tennis, you can borrow a racket, you can get a free lesson. You can also play if you're already playing, or you can also just hang out, drink wine, and kind of be surrounded by all things tennis.
Yeah.
Because Copenhagen, it's all private clubs, so the accessibility to tennis is very low.
It's really hard to get in.
It's impossible. It's like 4-year wait list. So we really wanted, together with the club, to try to make it more of something for everyone.
That's super cool.
Yep.
How do you sign up, or where do you
follow on our socials, and there's going to be a sign up link, and then you can click I don't have a racket, I've never played tennis, and then you show up and you get a free lesson, and you can have some wine after and hang out.
I will come.
Perfect.
I can feel it.
That's good.
Yeah, amazing. So what are your ambitions for the next chapter of Palms?
Well, I think we want to take it. I think because we have roots in tennis, it's really going into that lifestyle direction, and I think that's our strength, is that tennis is such a universal sport that kind of encompasses all sectors. So whether that's food or beverage or hospitality or leisure, I think there's so much to do. The next thing that we're exploring now is dipping our toes in performance wear.
Okay.
So we are now doing some tests, because we have some really good factories that make a lot of performance wear. So we're now testing out actual like hardcore top level performance, and we're developing it with one of the top Danish players for him to wear, to try out. It's Elmer Møller.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're now just dipping our toes into it. He's a friend of the house, and yeah, just getting his feedback and trying to see how we can explore and build onto that.
Have you experienced before that, like, the athletes or the tennis player has worn the clothes?
Yeah,
like,
sometimes they buy it, but mainly for off the court. But they also, I think tennis is difficult because there's not that many pros. Like there's maybe 100, maybe probably 200 players who actually, like maybe 250 who actually make a living from it. And that's the equivalent of the amount of football players in Denmark alone.
Yeah.
So all the sponsorship money in tennis is tied around very few people. It's basically saying like Novak Djokovic is the equivalent of Real Madrid and Barcelona together. Wow. Because there's only one tournament every week. And there's not national leagues, and there's not all of that. So what we do instead with Palms is also we want to make tennis fun and more approachable. And I think so what we do instead is that the people who kind of are ambassadors, who are part of the world of Palms, are people who are creative, whether it's a chef or it's a painter or it's an artist or it's a writer or someone, but they share a love for tennis as well. But they excel in their own creative medium. So those are the ones that we kind of do all of our storytelling with instead of the professional athletes.
That's amazing. Well, I am excited to see, even though it's menswear, I feel like I can still wear that T-shirt. Yeah.
We have about 10-20% of our customers are female, I would say. And we do small size as well.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course.
And see you in August.
See you in August. Thank you.
Thank you.